Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday News on 3FM 92.7. My name is Beatrice Adu. The news is also live on Kasmi 107.1 FM and across the world at 3news.com. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Striking members of the Teachers and Educational Workers Union, TEU of TUC, insist they will not call off their industrial action despite the NLC's invitation to the negotiation table over poor working conditions. Also coming up on the program, opposition NPP hits the street over what members describe as harassment and injustice against party members by state security apparatus.
Enough is enough. We handed over power to you, and safe and democracy is what we handed over power to you. You cannot suppress Ghanaians, our voices. A luta continua, Victoria asserta. That is what we told the president.
We'll bring you the latest on that, and later, experts deliberate on Ghana's housing deficit at the Media General Thought Leadership Forum currently underway in the capital city of Accra. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. We start in Accra, where the youth wing of the New Patriotic Party NPP is staging a demonstration dubbed Yesuro to protest what members describe as the government's abuse of power and selective justice. The NPP youth accused state institutions, including the Ghana Police Service and the Economic Office, of being used to intimidate and harass opposition members. Recent arrest and detention of party members, among them Bono Regional Chairman Kwame Bafo, popularly known as Abronye DC, and some social media activists have fueled anger within the party's ranks. Here are some voices from the protesters.
Enough is enough. We handed over power to you, and safe and democracy is what we handed over power to you. You cannot suppress Ghanaians, our voices. A luta continua, Victoria asserta. That is what we told the president.
Why we are here? The unwarranted harassment, the failure of rule of law to work. Clearly, we need to show, and this is the way. It's a very peaceful way. We can tell Ghanaians that let's rise up and let our democracy work for us. Because we voted for democracy, so let the democracy work for us, and that is why we are here. I'm surprised you are not seeing the abuse. So we believe that by protesting this way, Ghanaians will see the abuse of the law that is going on, and we are going to do this peacefully and in a democratic manner, and so that is why we are here.
I'm not interested in the numbers. I am interested in the voice. We all have one voice, that this government should focus on developing the country and improving the lives of Ghanaians. They shouldn't spend their time and energy and the country's money going after their enemies. Nobody voted for NDC to come and chase their enemies. They voted for them to make your life better as a journalist. They voted for them so that your brothers in the village will get a job. They voted for them so that our hospitals will get more beds for Ghanaians. They voted for them to clean the water bodies. They voted for them so that we can speak in peace.
And you had there some protesters were members of the youth wing of the opposition New Patriotic Party. Stanley Nibleo is a man who is with them. He joins us live. Stanley, we know the party is presenting a petition. Just talk to us about it.
Okay, so currently the members of the NPP are actually at the Flagstaff House at the Revolutionary Square opposite the seat of government, where the chief of staff at the Vice President's office, Mr. Alex Segbefia, has come to receive them. And then it's actually an oral petition that they are doing. They are presenting to the government so that they expect the government and the president, for that matter, to act swiftly on that. About 20 minutes ago, we departed from the police headquarters, where the members or the leadership of the protesters also were at the police headquarters to also present same to the IGP. They are here because they believe that the police, although is a state institution, but they believe that the government in power, which is the NDC government, is actually hiding behind the police service to stifle speech in the country. So, for instance, just as it has been indicated in the SOTs that the cues that you played, Mr. Bernard Okoboy, the former Lejokuku lawmaker and then the former health minister, is part of the people fronting this particular demonstration. And according to them, their concern is that all these people that have been arrested by the police service were orchestrated by the government of the day. And so they feel that during their regime or their tenure in office, they resorted to legitimate and appropriate means to apprehend wrongdoers in society. But this time around, the NDC and the police service are actually, because they are doing all they can or they could to stifle speech in the country, when somebody is alleged to have committed a wrong, they actually go after the person in a Black Maria, especially in the case involving the Bunu regional chairman Abronye DC. And so they believe that they are not saying that if somebody speaks ill or defames or commits an offense in the country, that person shouldn't be dealt with, but rather they should resort to appropriate and dignified means to get these people behind bars and even arraigned before court, so that they should be put before a judge, so that the judge would adjudicate or preside over the wrong that the person has done, but not that the people are being detained. The federal actually went ahead to say that so the offenses that their members have committed and the police have arrested and detained them behind bars are similar issues that when they were in office, the NDC, which is in power now, their members also committed same, but they were treated in a dignified manner, and so they wanted the citizens going forth henceforth should be also treated with that dignity that they deserve.
And I know you mentioned the National Youth Organizer, Henry Nanabuache, that we actually saw. If you're following us on Facebook, we're showing you videos of the protest. But if you can tell us generally how it has been, whether it's been a peaceful one or there were some incidents that you want us to know.
So generally, this has been one of the peaceful or the most peaceful protests in the country. And because it is politically induced, the IGP and the Police Management Board, for that matter, provided security. And I must say that the security, just as we witnessed about 5,000 police personnel deployed to Akwetia to provide protection for the by-election, this one too, a similar faction is being done here. If the police service will not number up to 5,000, probably a huge number actually has been deployed to provide protection. And from Obrasport, from the Ring Road Central, where the protest took place or started from, the police placed several others at vantage places. So, for instance, at every intersection, there is a group of police personnel that have been stationed over there, so that they will ensure that the protesters will not take them by surprise. So they station everybody over there, their men over there, all the way from Ring Road Central through to Ring Road East, where the police headquarters is located. I'm speaking to you, the people or the party leadership are done with the presentation of their petition at the Flagstaff House, and they are about to disperse. They are about to address their members, and then finally they will disperse from the seat of government.
Thank you very much, Stanley Nibleo. He's our reporter following the youth wing of the opposition NPP protesting against what they call the intimidation of members by the government using state apparatus. Let's head for the court now. And the 11 West African nationals who filed a legal action against the Ghana government have been deported to their home countries. Lawyers have told an Accra High Court. The 11 nationals comprising 4 Nigerians, 3 Togolese, 2 Malians, 1 Gambian and one Liberian were seeking the enforcement of their human rights, arguing that they were being detained in Ghana against their will. They also filed an injunction against their repatriation and another order compelling the government to produce them before the court. Lead counsel for the deportees, Oliver Bakavamao, indicated to the court that his client had been deported over the weekend, a situation which therefore compelled him to withdraw the suit since it had become moot. Lord Edwasare is a man in court following this. He joins us live on the line. Lord, if you can tell us more about today's proceedings.
Right, Beatrice. So at the last adjourned date, the presiding judge in the matter told lawyers for the U.S. deportees that there are two motions which they had filed ex parte. It was critical that they put the respondents, which was the Attorney General, the Chief of Defense Staff, and the Controller Accountant, on notice because of the manner in which the case was. She indicated that the case was of national interest and international interest. So she adjourned it to today to rule on whether the two applications, which was the injunction application and then the writ of habeas corpus, which was essentially getting an order from the courts to compel them to the deportees to be put before the court, will be heard. So when the case was called today, the judge indicated that he actually ordered the lawyers of the deportees or for the deportees to put the Attorney General, Chief of Defense Staff, essentially the respondents, on notice because of the interest in the matter. Right after she said that, the lead counsel, Oliver Bakavamao, indicated that the reason for which they have filed the two motions, which was the writ of habeas corpus and then the interlocutory injunction, was to, one, prevent them from being repatriated to their home countries because they had indicated at the last time that they will suffer some injuries or persecutions and torture if they are repatriated. And two, because they are being held against their knowledge or their rights, they should be put before the courts. Now, events had been overtaken because Oliver indicated that just this past weekend, the 11 U.S. deportees from the various West African countries have been deported to their home countries, rendering their suits at this point irrelevant or moot. Now, he indicated that there had been a travesty of justice, and this was the reason why they wanted the court to rule on the matter expeditiously to prevent this injury. But the way matters have become, it's critical that the other ones that will come, he did indicate that there are more deportees who have been sent to the country and will continue to be sent to the country because of the agreements that government and the U.S. government have had. And so more of these suits will be put before the court. And so he was admonishing the court to the next time be more expeditious in seeing to the matter so that there will not be a travesty of justice. Now, after that, in ruling and striking out the motion as withdrawn, the presiding judge expressed unhappiness or dissatisfaction at the fact that the deportees had been repatriated, although the suit was in court. But be that as it may, she still struck out their motions, which had become moot, as withdrawn. And so that's what happened in court today. So
essentially what this means is that Oliver Bakavamao is not pursuing this case, so we should consider that there's no case of the sort in court moving forward.
At this juncture, he withdrew two. There was one other motion which was seeking their rights to be sort of fought for. That he did not withdraw because he says it is still relevant. And so we cannot conclude and say that the matter is no more, although they are not in the country, sure they'll get other means to try and fight for the rights of these deportees. Thank
you very much, Lord Edwasare. He's our court affairs correspondent now. A sprinter bus conveying traders from Mankasim to Chifipraso in the central region has been involved in an accident leading to fatalities. Available information now indicate that there may be many injured and even some dead. Scores of relatives have thronged the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital to check on their family members involved. Thomas Khan is a man on the ground. He joins us live on the phone. Thomas, if you can tell us more about this incident.
So, Beatrice, we do know that the accident happened a couple of hours ago. And as I speak now, we've seen scores of relatives, in fact, a good number of them who have joined the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital to check up on their relatives. According to the information that we have, there was a stationary long trailer on the road, and this sprinter traveling from Mankesim to Jufupra. So we do not know what really happened. Just ran into that trailer, and unfortunately, injuring a lot of people. But as we speak now, there are speculations that there are some people dead, but others also have suffered injuries. But at the moment, we do not know the numbers. But what we can confirm is that there has been some injuries, and then there's speculation of some who have died as well. And as a result, a lot of the relatives have joined the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital to check if their relatives are fine or what's their current state.
Do we have the police or the fire service on the scene? Any information from any representative?
Yes, well, the fire service, they were the first security agency to respond to this accident. And we do know that the nature of the accident was so serious. So they had to go in with their equipment to cut part of the vehicle to retrieve the victims.
Thank you very much. But are you able to, before you go, if you can tell us whether this affected traffic in any way and what is being done?
Yes, when it happened, it affected traffic for a while. But what we do know now is that the road has been cleared, and the road, motorists can now use the road now.
Thank you very much, Thomas Khan. He's our Central Regional Correspondent. 17 minutes past the hour of 12. When we come back, we'll bring you some more. Don't go away.
Hello, Ghana. It's a new year, and Bills Microcredit is here to support your dreams. If you're not working but want to start a business, don't let money stop you. With just your Ghana card, you can get a loan to turn your ideas into reality. Already running a business? Need more capital? Or are you a salary worker looking for extra funds? Bills offers fast and easy loans with no collateral, no deposit, and no SUSI savings required. Wherever you are, whatever you need, Bills makes it happen. Call Bills Microcredit today. Call 0596 920 833 or 0302 200 390 and get started. Bills is licensed and regulated by the Bank of Ghana. Bills, financing your needs. Terms and conditions apply.
And you're still here on 3FM 92.7. Now, President John Mahama is calling on African leaders to treat health not as a cost but as a driver of development and sovereignty. Speaking at a high-level Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, Africa CDC meeting in New York on Monday, President Mahama stressed that the continent's future hinges on stronger health systems. His remarks come as Africa pushes to expand local vaccine production, secure sustainable financing, and step up preparedness for future global health emergencies.
Your Excellency, the Chairperson of the African Union, Your Excellency's colleagues, heads of state and government, Your Excellency, the Chairperson of the African Union Commission and Commissioners, Honorable Ministers, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. It is a privilege for me to join you this afternoon under a theme that directly addresses Africa's future, that is securing our health sovereignty. We're called to address the challenges Africa faces today. The truth is stark. External funding for healthcare and humanitarian assistance is declining rapidly. The U.S. Congress in July cut $8 billion from the budget for U.S. international assistance. U.S. aid contracts worth $54 billion have been terminated. This is not peculiar to the U.S. alone. The NATO allies and Europe, in order to meet the target of 5% of GDP spending for defense, are all making cuts to their overseas development assistance. If we do not take our health destiny into our own hands by shaping new strategies and partnerships, our citizens will be left without medicines, without vaccines, and without hope. And there will be a reversal in the health outcomes in Africa.
And you heard President John Mahama speaking in New York on that. You were in a high-level meeting. The president is also expected to continue the conversation when he hosts a side event later today on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly. Now, Ghana's housing challenge can no longer wait. As only 5% of the country's population can afford to buy a house without assistance. That's a warning from Works and Housing Minister Kenneth Gilbert Adu, who insists that every Ghanaian deserves a place to call home. He sounded the call at Media General's Thought Leadership Forum themed From Blueprint to Brick, making affordable housing work.
This forum, an important event under the auspices of Media General, marks a critical moment where vision must turn into real action. It is where policy must match reality on the ground, and political will must respond strongly to the silent suffering of families in desperate need of decent shelter. As a government, our commitment is clear. Turn these words into meaningful change and build a future where no one is left behind, where every Ghanaian can access the dignity of a safe, secure home. At the Ministry of Works, Housing and Water Resources, we believe that every Ghanaian teacher, nurse, civil servant, banker, security officer, journalist, market trader, young graduate or driver deserves not only shelter but also the dignity of affordable, decent housing. This is not charity. It is economic sense, social justice, and the core of national development.
And you heard the Works and Housing Minister Gilbert Adu, Chief Operating Officer of Media General Nyama Ishan, stressed the crucial role the partners play in ensuring a thriving industry.
Built estates often start with solid infrastructure, a strong sense of community and real social bonding. But to keep them in the original pristine condition, resident needs to pay service charges. But try collecting service charges from your average Ghanaian pensioner and you would realize why over time these communities that start as model communities are no longer sustainable and slowly decline. We will notice that sustainability in the long run is a much bigger challenge. That's why the role of our partners is so important. Rehoboth Properties is showing us how to design and deliver homes that are both affordable and dignified. ADB PLC, with its plethora of facilities, is making home ownership a real possibility for working families. The Department of Architecture in KNUST is training the young generation in terms of sustainability, innovation, and affordability for the average Ghanaian. The National Home Ownership Fund is building the financial framework to keep affordability alive beyond the ribbon cutting. And Syntex stands well. They offer the critical services like water storage and sanitation, so often overlooked as we build the backbone of our housing solutions.
And he had there the CEO of Media General Nyama Ishan. Now, the Teachers and Educational Workers Union TEU says its indefinite strike will continue despite a directive from the National Labour Commission (NLC) asking the union to suspend the industrial action to allow negotiations to resume. Over 50,000 members of TEU laid down their tools last week, demanding that government and the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission immediately conclude and sign the long-delayed conditions of service. General Secretary of TEU, King James Azotiba, insists that the strike will not be called off until there is a firm commitment backed by action from the authorities. The union argues that its members have waited too long for the conclusion of negotiations, which have dragged on for years without resolution. Meanwhile, the NLC has summoned TEU to appear before it on Wednesday, the 1st of October, urging them to return to work while talks continue. Let's go to the University of Ghana now, where TEU members are holding a press conference to drum home their concerns over poor conditions of service. Nura Mohammed is our reporter monitoring that for us. He joins us live on the line. Nura, what are the union members saying regarding the call to suspend their strike?
That is the University of Ghana main gate, and they are saying that the government has not met their conditions of service, and if all these conditions are not met, they will not be returning to. Some of these conditions include, according to them, they have not been paid. Some too have demanded a salary increment. and others too who are due for promotion have not been promoted. And among many other issues, and so they are saying that if the government and that the Federal Salary Commission does not come to listen to them or get the Federal Salary Commission does not,
Hello, Nura, are you still on the line?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, your line went off a bit. If you conclude on conclude for us.
Yes. So if FWSC does not, listen to them and then actually meet their conditions, they will not be returning. And so they urge all their members and executives across the country to cease from operating and from reporting.
It's early days yet. And Nura, if you can reposition yourself so we're able to hear you clearly. It's early days yet, but are you able to tell us whether this strike has already had any impact on campus?
Yes. So on campus at the moment, during the strike, you could see that there were some drivers who were working, and then you could see some of the executives warning them sternly to go back and park their cars. And so you could say that it started to take effect. And I'm told that Beatrice and some senior high schools will be affected as well. And although it's early days yet, we're hoping that in the coming days, negotiations are tabled and this entire strike actually sold up.
Thank you very much, Nura Mohammed. She's our reporter currently at the University of Ghana campus monitoring that declaration of strike by members of TEU and that press conference they held earlier. Now, Ghana has recorded 10 new cases of the monkeypox disease as of September 18, bringing the total confirmed cases to 565. This is the latest update from the Ghana Health Service since the outbreak of the disease early this year. Mpox spreads mainly through close contact with someone who has the infection. The Ghana Health Service is urging good hygiene practice and entered early report to the nearest health facility. Symptoms include fever, rash, headache, muscle aches, or swollen lymph nodes. Now, before we go, the Asokore Mampo Municipal Assembly has identified and marked several buildings for demolition as a critical step in its flood prevention strategy. The structures are located illegally along the banks of the Abuabo storm drain, a waterway known for overflowing during heavy rains, causing significant property damage and posing a threat to lives. The Assembly has issued a final warning to property owners who have built on waterways and restricted zones, stating that it will strictly enforce the law. With the rainy season underway, our reporter Ibrahim Abubakar assesses the situation on the ground, and he'll be joining us in subsequent bulletins. But ahead of that, the MCE for the area has been speaking. Let's listen to exactly what he told our reporter earlier.
We have given them the other opportunity of doing the demolition themselves within a space of 1 week. Failure to do so, which will compel the assembly to come in again to bring a bigger and more purposeful machinery to conduct the demolition exercise and surcharge them for the cost of demolition. There's a lot of indiscipline within the fiscal planning space, within the municipality. And this is something that I'm willing to confront head on.
And you had the municipal chief executive for the Asokore Mampo municipality in the Ashanti region, Ben Abdullah Al Hassan. That's it for the Midday News here on 3FM 92.7. Log on to 3news.com for more news. Have a good afternoon.
Frequency 92.7.
Hello, good afternoon and welcome to Business Daily on 3FM 92.7 with me, Bismarck Ausa. Coming up this afternoon, IMF to begin Ghana's Faith Program Review September 29 with spotlight on fiscal discipline. Beyond May 2026 will bring you details. And fuel prices increase at the pumps as CD weakness forces adjustments despite falling global oil costs. These stories and others lined up for you, please stay. Thanks for your company. Now to the details. An International Monetary Fund staff mission is due in Accra from September 29 for Ghana's Faith Program Review, a crucial assessment that will determine whether the country secures an additional $360 million in October. There is more in the following 3 Business News Desk report. The upcoming review will evaluate Ghana's progress under the IMF program since completing the 4th review earlier this year. This faith assessment is widely seen as critical, being the penultimate before the program concludes in May 2026. Analysts caution that Ghana could face challenges maintaining fiscal discipline once the IMF's direct oversight ends, a concern echoed by development partners who are urging the government to build in what they describe as economic shock absorbers to safeguard stability beyond May next year. Government officials, however, maintain there is no cause for alarm, assuring markets that steps have already been taken to entrench expenditure discipline post-program. So far, Ghana has received about $2.3 billion in disbursements since signing on to the IMF program, with a further $360 million expected in October if the country successfully passes this faith review. And that was a 3 Business News Desk report. Moving on, some oil marketing companies have begun adjusting fuel prices at the pumps, with state-owned gold taking the lead. Petrol is now selling at 13 cedis 38 pesos per litre, while diesel is going for 14 cedis 20 pesos, both up from earlier prices at the start of the month. There is more in the following 3 Business News Desk report.
Some oil marketing companies have begun adjusting prices at the pumps, with Goil leading the way. The second largest player in the industry has revealed a litre of petrol upward to 13 cedis 38 pesos from 12 cedis 99 pesos on September 2. Diesel has gone up to 14 cedis 20 pesos per litre from 13 cedis 90 pesos. The increases come after most OMCs held prices steady for about a week, despite earlier projections of up to 6% hikes. The Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies had projected petrol prices could rise to around 14 cedis 17 pesos per litre, while diesel could reach 14 cedis 67 pesos. LPG was also tipped to sell at about 14 cedis per kilogram. According to COMAC, the main driver of the adjustment is the sharp depreciation of the Ghana cedi against the US dollar, which fell nearly 8% during the review period. This has pushed the currency's year-to-date loss to more than 14%, one of the worst globally. On the international market, crude oil and refined products prices actually fell, but COMAC explained that the cedi's weakness has erased those gains, making the local increases unavoidable. Industry watchers are keeping an eye on whether Goil's move will trigger similar adjustments across the over 200 oil marketing companies operating nationwide.
And that was a 3 Business News Desk report indicating fuel prices have increased at the pumps due to weakness of the cedi. Moving on, the Center for Environmental Management and Sustainable Energy
Ghana's renewable
has criticized Energy Minister John Jinapol's projection that Ghana will achieve 35% renewable energy in its power mix by December 2025. Executive Director of SEMSI, Benjamin Nsia, stated that the claim is an overstatement and could undermine the country's official target of 10% renewable energy by 2030, as outlined in the country's Renewable Energy Master Plan and the Renewable Energy Act.
Ghana's Renewable Energy Master Plan, developed with support from the United Nations Development Programme UNDP, explicitly sets a target of increasing the proportion of renewable energy in the national mix to 1,363.63 megawatts by 2030, with a focus on non-hydro sources. By over-relying on large hydro to meet a high percentage target, SEMSI fears Ghana may lose sight of its ambitious goal to build a robust and decentralized renewable energy market.
If we talk of mainly hydro, as of 2015, our hydro mix within our energy space or the installed capacity was 43%. So if Ghana had already attained 43% of hydro, then means that if we are using large hydro at the benchmark, then Ghana has already achieved within the 10% of the renewable that we're talking about to renewable. So this overstatement must not be accepted. I think that Ghana will not achieve 35% of renewable energy by December 2025. We are not there yet.
According to Benjamin Nsia, the minister's 35% projection for 2025, which likely includes large hydro, deviates from the country's long-term, legally backed strategy for a diversified and sustainable energy future. The Renewable Energy Act 2011, Act 832, and its subsequent amendment in 2020 also provide a legal framework to promote technologies like solar, wind, and biomass. The framework recognizes hydro of up to 100 megawatts as renewable.
So why do we consider we and Akosombo, which are traditionally based load energy sources, as renewable energy? I think that the ministry is overstating these issues for whatever reason we do not know. But the reason why they made the Ministry of Energy and Green Transition, is to introduce other new renewables into our energy mix. And we expect that by 2030, 10% of our energy mix should be the new renewables.
Currently, Ghana is doing 2.4% of renewable energy in the generation mix.
And that was a report on SEMSI cautioning a high but misleading renewable energy target for 2025 could jeopardize Ghana's long-term energy goals. Before we go, Ecuador is on course to produce more than 350,000 metric tons of cocoa in the 2026-2027 season, a development that could see the South American country overtake Ghana as the world's second largest cocoa producer, according to Ivan Ontaneda, chairman of Ecuador's Cocoa Exporters Association. The country's output has been growing steadily, supported by heavy investments from both the public and private sectors, as farmers take advantage of soaring world cocoa prices. And that report brings us to the end of Business Daily on 3FM 92.7 with me, Bismarck. For more business stories, please check out our website 3news.com. Thanks for your company. Urban Blend is next with Black Rasta. Please stay.